You think shampoo is simple. Water, foam, clean hair. But here is the shocking truth. The modern idea of good hair was not just discovered by science. It was heavily shaped by advertising. And once that idea entered people's minds, it spread everywhere. In this story, we go back to a time before plastic bottles, before bathroom shelves, before the word fresh controlled how people felt about their own heads. We will see how people cleaned hair in older times. We will see how companies turned hair into a problem, then sold the solution. And we will see why standing in front of a shampoo shelf today can feel strangely confusing. Because this is not only the history of soap for hair, it is the history of a belief. Chapter 1. Origin. Imagine a warm morning hundreds of years ago. A woman kneels beside a river. The air smells like wet earth and green leaves. Her hair is long, heavy, and dark with water. In her hands, there is no bright bottle, no fruit fragrance, no promise of repair or volume. She uses what her world gives her. Maybe crushed herbs, maybe clay, maybe oils, maybe plant ash mixed with water. She rubs the mixture gently into her hair and scalp. It does not make rich foam. It does not smell like a modern salon, but it works in the way people of her time understand cleanliness. This is our first mini-story. For most of human history, hair care was local. It depended on climate, class, culture, and available materials. In South Asia, people used soap nuts, herbs, and oils. In parts of the Middle East and Africa, people used clays and plant-based mixtures. In Europe, hair washing was often less frequent, and grooming could depend on powders, combing, and covering the hair. Clean did not mean one single thing. That matters, because today, many people think there was always one clear standard for healthy or beautiful hair. There was not. Stop right there. The word shampoo itself has roots in South Asia. It came from a word connected to pressing, kneading, or massaging. In earlier use, it was closer to a massage treatment than the bottled liquid we know now. So the story did not begin in a factory. It began with touch, with ritual, with habit, and with different ideas of what hair should feel like. Some people wanted soft hair, some wanted oiled hair, some wanted neat hair, some wanted covered hair. But then something changed. A product became a system, and a system became a rule. What happens when business enters the bathroom? Chapter 2. The Rise. Now we move into the age of industry. Factories grow, cities expand, railways connect markets, packaging improves, and suddenly ordinary daily habits can be turned into mass products. This is where shampoo begins to change from a local practice into a commercial object. At first, hair cleaners were often powders, soaps, or special treatments used less often than today. But companies saw something important. Hair was personal, visible, emotional, and easy to connect with shame. That combination is gold for marketing. A person can ignore many things, but feeling embarrassed about how they look, that hits hard. Here comes our second mini-story. Picture a woman in the early 20th century. She is standing in a small shop. On the wall, there is an advertisement. A beautiful woman in the poster smiles with shining hair that looks soft as silk. The message is simple, but powerful. Good hair means good grooming, good taste, maybe even good character. Our shopper looks at the ad. Then she touches her own hair. Suddenly, her hair is no longer just hair. It is a test. That is how pressure is born. Not always with force. Sometimes with a smile. Sometimes with elegant words. Sometimes with a promise that sounds kind. This was the rise of modern beauty advertising. It did not just sell shampoo. It sold anxiety, then relief. First, it suggested a problem. Dull hair, oily hair, lifeless hair, unfeminine hair, unclean hair. Then it offered a product to fix it. Pattern interrupt. The product did not only clean hair, it created a new reason to worry about hair. As radio, magazines, film, and later television grew stronger, the message became louder. Repetition did the heavy work. Again and again, people saw the same image. Healthy hair is shiny. Healthy hair moves a certain way. Healthy hair smells a certain way. Healthy hair looks controlled, but natural. It sounds ridiculous when you say it out loud, doesn't it? But repeat an idea for decades, and people stop hearing it as an opinion. They hear it as truth. And shampoo companies became experts at this. They did not only sell hygiene, they sold identity. They sold modernity. They sold the feeling that a clean scalp could mean a better life. And here is the bridge that matters. Once hair became linked to success, romance, and respectability, washing it more often stopped feeling optional. It started feeling necessary. Chapter 3. The Dark Turn. Now the story gets darker. Because once an industry learns how to shape desire, it rarely stops at one message. Perfect, clean hair became a moving target. Too oily? Use this. Too dry? Use that. Too flat? Buy volume. Too wild? Buy control. Too damaged? Buy repair. Too normal? Here, let us invent a new category. This is the dark turn. The market grows best when people are never fully satisfied. Pattern interrupt. If people feel fine, they buy less. So the language becomes more technical, more scientific, more exact. Bottles begin to speak like doctors, even when they are mostly speaking like salespeople. Protein, balance, purity, deep clean, advanced formula, micellar, detox. These words sound smart. Some have real function. Some are more about mood than meaning. And the shower becomes a laboratory of insecurity. Conditioner joins shampoo, then masks, then serums, then sprays, then scalp scrubs, then clarifying products, then anti-frizz systems, then color-safe systems, then hair routines with 6 steps, 8 steps, 10 steps. Who decided your head needed a full management team? This is also where older beauty standards become sharper and more global. Straight hair, glossy hair, controlled hair, professional hair, these ideas were not neutral. They often reflected class, race, colonial influence, and social power. In many places, people learned that their natural hair texture was a problem to fix. That message hurt, quietly, deeply, for years. And because it was wrapped in glamour, many did not even notice the pressure. Shampoo was not evil by itself. Let us be fair. It helped many people clean their hair more easily. It became useful, practical, and widely available. But the industry around it often did something more manipulative. It taught people to doubt themselves in very specific ways. Then it charged them monthly. Rhetorical question number 1. When did cleanliness become a performance? And here's the curiosity bridge. Just when the industry looked unstoppable, the world changed again. Because people began asking dangerous questions. What is actually inside the bottle? Chapter 4. The world changes. By the late 20th century and into the 21st, a new mood began to rise. People still wanted good-looking hair. Of course they did. But they also started reading labels. They began to ask about chemicals, allergies, pollution, and waste. Some questioned sulfates, parabens, silicones, and artificial fragrance. Some of these debates were scientific. Some were emotional. Many were mixed. Harder word, simple meaning. Synthetic means made by humans through chemistry, not directly taken from nature. Then another change came from the internet. Before, brands talked and people listened. Now people could talk back. Forums, blogs, YouTube, TikTok, and review pages gave ordinary users a microphone. A person with curly hair in one country could share tips with someone thousands of miles away. Communities formed around natural hair, low wash routines, scalp care, and even no poo, meaning little or no traditional shampoo. Suddenly, the old message cracked. Not everyone wanted the same hair. Not everyone needed daily washing. Not everyone believed foam meant clean. Pattern interrupt. More bubbles do not always mean more truth. This was a cultural shift. A big one. For decades, companies had trained people to think in one direction. Now consumers were pushing back. Some returned to oils, herbs, bars, or gentler products. Others stayed with mainstream shampoo but became more skeptical. And brands, being brands, adapted fast, very fast. The market that once sold perfect clean could now sell natural, clean beauty, free from, organic, heritage, and ancient ritual too. Same game, new costume. Do you see the trick? When the public changes values, business often changes language before it changes behavior. Rhetorical question number 2. Is that freedom or just a smarter form of selling? Still, something real had happened. People were no longer passive. They were comparing, reviewing, experimenting, and rejecting one-size-fits-all beauty rules. The myth was weaker now, but it was not dead. Because today, the pressure has become more personal, more targeted. more endless. And that leads us to the modern shelf. Chapter 5. Today's surprise. Walk with me into a supermarket or open a shopping app. This is our third mini-story. A modern shopper stands under bright white lights, staring at a wall of shampoo bottles. There are dozens, maybe hundreds, for dry hair, for weak hair, for colored hair, for thinning hair, for men, for women, for scalp health, for shine, for repair, for smoothing, for volume, for sleep, almost. The shopper picks up one bottle, then another. The labels sound confident. Every bottle promises transformation. Every bottle says it understands you. Every bottle claims to be the answer. And yet the feeling is not relief. It is overload. That is today's surprise. We live in the most informed age of hair care, but many people feel more confused than ever. Algorithms now shape taste the way old magazine ads once did. Social media can turn one hairstyle, one ingredient, or one routine into a trend in days. A stranger's shower shelf becomes a model for your own life. And the pressure is no longer only, be clean. Now it is, be optimized. Your scalp must be balanced. Your curls must be defined. Your roots must be fresh. Your ends must be repaired. Your routine must say something about who you are. Pattern interrupt. You were never just buying soap. You were buying a story about yourself. Some stories are useful. Some are fun. Some are helpful. But many are carefully designed to make normal people feel unfinished. Rhetorical question number 3. If your hair is already healthy enough, who loses when you stop chasing perfection? That is the hidden truth of shampoo history. It is not a simple march from dirty to clean. It is a long campaign of persuasion. First, companies helped define beauty. Then they repeated it. Then society absorbed it. Then individuals began to police themselves. And once that happens, the strongest advertisement is no longer on the screen. It is inside the mind. That is why shampoo feels normal today. Not because every rule about hair is natural, but because the rules were sold so often that they became invisible. And that, honestly, is how power works in everyday life. Quietly, softly, with a nice smell. Ending. So the next time you wash your hair, pause for 1 second. Look at the bottle, look at the words, look at the promise. Then ask yourself where that promise came from science, from culture, from habit, or from a very long history of people selling one narrow image of what good hair should be. Because once you see that history, you cannot unsee it. And that is the real secret history of shampoo. If you want the next story, choose your next mystery. Option A, the secret history of deodorant. Option B, the secret history of perfume. Write A or B in the comments.